Everyone can relate to getting a new neighbor. And I want you to think about when they first moved in and how you check them out. You see what kind of car they drive, the clothes they wear, the stuff they move in, the people helping your new neighbor move in. And then you take all these judgments and you file them away for future reference. Now, I'm going to show you a series of pictures of some people, and I want you to think about the first judgment or assumption that comes to mind. You can be honest with yourself. You won't have to tweet out your answers for the whole world to know. In the midst of these judgments, we tend to overlook some of the essential qualities of a good neighbor. Every single one of these women are productive members of society, they give back to their community, and they have many more characteristics that each individual in this room today can relate to. But with that being said, what I'm going to tell you might come as a shock to you. All these women here have worn this very badge that I wear here today. And this here isn't a visitor badge either. This is my prison ID. Don't worry. I'm not trying to scare you leaving here today background checking your neighbors. But rather, I want you breaking down the stereotypes that movies, television, and the internet may have built in your minds about criminals in prison. Hopefully you'll see past the metal detector you went through, the razor wire you walked past, and the green IDs you tried making out, even though the white writing is too hard. People have this assumption that this badge is going to provide you with everything you need to know about me. But this piece of plastic is just that, a piece of plastic. It's not going to tell you the person I am today or the neighbor I'm going to be. This is a bad hair day of me at 15 entering the Department of Corrections. I bet you all are glad you haven't had one of those days. And I'm not talking about the bad hair day. I'm talking about coming to prison. I was incarcerated at 14 with no job skills, work experience, and no sense. But I'm sure most of you can agree that you didn't have much sense either at 14. But thankfully, I now stand before you, 28 years old, with a much better look, much better hairdo, several job skills with work experience, and some sense. Here at Washington Corrections Center for Women, there are many programs that help women offenders reintegrate back into society as your neighbor. I'm just going to highlight 4 of these programs. One is our Braille program, where I'm currently employed as a Braille transcriber and nationally certified. Prison Pet Partnership, where I took the national dog testing and got a 96%. Trade-related apprenticeship coaching program in cosmetology, 2 programs I hope to participate in the near future. But it's because of these programs that I now stand before you with the job skills and the work experience that I do, as well as the inspiration of these driven women who happen to be my friends and who are now your neighbors. So it is my pleasure and honor to introduce you to your neighbors that you may not know is living next to you. Here's Angela. Angela was here at WCCW for 10 years, and while she was here, she worked at the Braille program for 5, where she became a highly skilled Braille transcriber. Okay, for anyone that may not understand what we do, we transcribe anything into Braille. Textbooks, state exams, music, and many more things to help provide independent living for the visually impaired. Angela was released in 2011, where shortly after, the Washington State School for the Blind wanted to hire her as a Braille transcriber. Okay, I see the faces, and you're not grasping what I'm telling you. A felon working at a school? This was such a big deal, something unheard of. So it was brought to the Washington State School for the Blind superintendent for Angela to work at the school. And bam, he gave her a chance, and she got the job. 2.5 years later, Angela is still working for them, making good money by putting to use the very skill she was taught right here in prison. A go-getter doing groundbreaking things, guess what? She's now your neighbor. Let's continue meeting some of your other amazing neighbors. I'd like to introduce you to Yvette. Yvette is a military veteran who ended up spending 6 years here. And yes, Yvette knew that she wouldn't be able to return to the military, although she missed the structure and the service that the military gave her. So what program would be best fitting and appealing to a military veteran? Trade-related apprenticeship coaching program. The track program is a 16-week course that trains and tests offenders in becoming carpenters, welders, laborers, and ironworkers. Yvette was released in 2013, and as soon as she got out, she got in contact with her instructor, Steve, here, and Steve walked and talked her through everything she needed to pass her test. Keep in mind, this is a field traditionally dominated by men, which was nothing new to Yvette. So look out, here came Yvette. She went and took her initial testing, also known as Hell Day. Yvette lifted and walked rebar. She made countless of knots, and she was tested on her math and amongst other things. Majority of them were men there, and she was 1 out of 6 women. And Yvette finished 8 out of 50. She beat out most of the men. Oh yeah, another part that makes the track program so amazing is that her former instructor, Steve, showed up as a proud teacher cheering Yvette on the whole entire day, on his day off without pay. But wait, there's still more. Recently, in January 2015, Yvette was finally sworn into the Union. A hard worker and determined, she is now your neighbor. Now, we all need a hairstylist as a neighbor, especially in my case when you might have a bad hair day. Here's Tracy. Tracy was here 11 years, and Tracy has always been passionate about education. And if it was up to her, she would be a full-time student if they would pay her. But one problem, she knew that wasn't a realistic option for a felon who wanted to take care of herself financially and legally, might I add. So Tracy was able to combine her passion for learning and her knack for doing hair and enrolled into the cosmetology program offered through Clover Park Technical College, where Tracy was on the dean's list every quarter for her outstanding grades and highly praised for her excellence in the salon by her instructor, Barbara. And that's because nobody went bald. When Tracy got out, she immediately took her state boards and passed with flying colors. Tracy was then licensed as a cosmetologist, even with a criminal record. Tracy is now a full-time hairstylist and a full-time student at the University of Washington working on her bachelor's degree. A good hairstylist who happens to be super smart. She's your neighbor. Now, you might be this neighbor, or you know this neighbor that loves dogs and has plenty of them. That's Mary. Now, everyone has their own way of coping with being in prison, and thankfully, we have one of the best therapies to do that, Prison Pet Partnership. Mary got involved with the pet program not just because of her love of dogs, but the healing that helped her through being away from her daughter. Mary took the required American Board and Kennel Association dog testing and passed hands down and was hired as an employee, where she became a dog trainer, where she was able to have contact and communication with every single dog that came through. Now, you know you dog owners that talk to their dogs like they're human. Yeah, that was her. Oh, aren't you so handsome? I might need to keep you away from all the girls. When Mary got out with the help of her employers here at WCCW, she released directly into the animal care industry, where soon after, the PET program paid Mary through grooming school. And Mary is now gainfully employed as a dog groomer right here in Gig Harbor as a fun, loving, and caring neighbor of yours. Now, I just showed you just a few women who have successfully re-entered your communities as your neighbors. These ladies, as well as myself, made the choice during our incarceration to change our life and enter as a productive member of society. These programs not only benefit our ability as offenders to pay off our legal financial obligations, but I hope this shows any worried business owner or manager hesitating about giving a felon a chance. There's no need to worry, because guess what? We are qualified and we are ready. And taxpayers, don't worry, your money isn't going to waste by investing. Check it out. Here's the reality. 95% of those incarcerated will be released back into your community as your neighbors, and your neighbors. So let's throw out those judgments and stereotypes right here, right now, and today, and help a neighbor coming soon to a neighborhood near you.